Welcome back, folks. 4RunnerTV. I'm your host, Ruger, and today I thought I would go goof around in the Vulture Mountain recreational area, which is just southwest of the town of Wickenburg, Arizona. Wickenburg remains one of my favorite towns in Arizona. While it's generally close to what we would call metropolitan Phoenix, it is pretty far removed in attitude and just general decor. It doesn't have a big city feel to it whatsoever. In fact, if I were to move from the big city, Wickenburg may be on one of my first choices. Definitely got to gas up before we go, folks. Always head out to the wilderness with a full tank of juice and a little bit of water. We are going down Vulture Mine Road. Right over here to your left, you'll see probably a fancy golf course. Boy, that was fast, wasn't it? I think that's probably some kind of country club. But we're going to head out here, and I have a place where I want to sneak off to because we've had a lot of heavy rains, and I just want to take a little sift through some of their black sand. Alright, pulling in here, the parking spot at Nature's Casino. Let's see if we can walk out of the house with a few more winnings than we came in with, huh? What do you think the odds of that happening? You know, as I suspected, not a whole lot sticking out, but you know what? It's always down in the fine particles in the grain. And there we go. A little bit not worth actually for me going for right now. I'm actually out here to film some off-roading, so we'll come back to this place at a later date. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's head back down the road a little ways and we'll... Oh, look at that view of Vulture Peak right there, folks. Anyway, we'll head on back here and then we'll just hang a left and we'll just start heading north in the desert a little bit. Start utilizing some of the attributes of the Toyota 4Runner. This hill here, there was actually a particularly difficult step that I was afraid I was going to drag some lower carriage on, so I had to go around it. Here's a little side view of it. This is the easier part of this little incline. Keep in mind, folks, this Toyota is not lifted. It just has a leveling kit, and we have Bilsteins or Bilsteins, depending on how you want to say it, on all four corners. Here's a little dog level view for you as we traverse this slightly washed out road. I realize the name of this channel, 4RunnerTV, may be kind of a misnomer because it's it's about 4Runner ownership, but it's also about, you know, experience and putting these vehicles that we spend so much money for, and a lot of us aren't rich. We spend a lot of time working, doing things that we probably really wouldn't do unless we were getting paid. Come up with the means to enjoy these things. This trail hadn't been used in a while, so it looked, but I found out in short order that it really went nowhere. Now, back down the hill we go. Now you can see here we've got it locked in 4 low. And we are exercising that front wheel drive system. course, I've sped up the camera a little bit here because we don't want to have this video be too sedate. But look at that view. Isn't that wonderful? Man, I'll tell you what, you got high blood pressure, tension issues, man. You just come out here and tool around for a little bit, and I tell you can just put those medications at bay, of course, under doctor supervision, if you will. And look at that, another view of Vulture Peak. Man, it just is just gorgeous, isn't it? These people out here in Wickenburg are so lucky to have that view. Up the road a little bit is a Vulture mine, and I believe it's kind of a semi-touristy area. I think you got paid to get in, and I don't know much about it. I may tour that one of these days. I'll have to look into it. You know, a lot of these tourist places that claim they're vintage, you read a little further into them, and half of them have all been burned down to the ground decades ago and rebuilt. So a lot of them aren't really true relics as we would think. But I don't know if that's the case with Vulture Peak Mine, or Vulture Mine, I think they call it. A lot of the hills that we see here are a little steeper than they show up on camera. And if you drive this thing correctly, and this could go for any small SUV four-wheel drive, you know, really it can become the ultimate side-by-side. I mean, I've thought about buying a side-by-side. I've looked at them. I've come close to actually pulling the trigger on one, but it always comes down to the same thought with me, is that I have the ultimate side-by-side. I don't need another vehicle that I've got to register. I've got to have permits for this land, permits for that land. Can I drive it on the street? Do I have to insure it? A lot of cost is involved in that, and I felt like it was probably a redundant tool to have a side-by-side along with a 4Runner. Now right here we are at the base of Vulture Mountain, just north and on the west side of it. We're going to go up this trail a little bit. It doesn't look like it gets used very often, but just enough to keep it present, so to speak. But there was some really rough spots that I had to do a little reverse work on. But you know, when you're not running a super lifted vehicle, you always, like you said, you have to be mindful where you're planting those tires and how they're going to react to the terrain it's touching. Well, how about that, folks? It's the road to nowhere. That'd be a good camping spot, but I'm sure you'd have creeps like me coming up on you from time to time. But that's the fun of this. It's you just get back to places where just nobody ever goes, very rarely. There we go. More splendid views, even at crooked angles we have here, guys. You know, I think I owe y'all an apology because, you know, I was doing the voiceover on this. I realized when I was out there, I was so relaxed and so just, you know, whatever of a mood that I completely forgot to fly the drone. Yeah, I was sitting in the back seat the whole time, ready to go. Now, you know, I've only flown that thing twice. This is the third video of the channel, so I'm not particularly efficient with it yet, but I really should have taken the time out to give it a go. So we'll get it on the next video. Let's get this rig moving. I had to really play a little reverse here, folks. Man, this was really rutted up from the rains, but yeah, we got out of there unscathed, I'm pretty sure. And my friends, if you've watched this far, I've got to say thank you for watching 4Runner TV. And we're going to keep on doing these videos. This is the third on the channel. And subscribe if you like what you see. You have any questions? You have a place you want me to explore? You can always email me at runner4TV@outlook.com. And with that, folks, we're going to head on back, call it a day, clean up, get everything set up for the next adventure. And for now, take care, and we'll probably see you in about a week. Bye.